so all alone. There is no.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I am Captain Logan, and joining me this evening as always is my wonderful co-host and chat moderator, DJ Martinez. Hello, DJ.
Hello.
What's up, man? Ready to do it again? Ready for more
I'm ready, sir.
random Q&A? See where it takes us? See if there's more sweatpants? I'm hoping for no more sweatpants.
More sweatpants.
God, all the sweatpants. Yeah, sorry we're a little bit late tonight, guys. We had a couple of little things that came up, and I should have sent out a message. I wasn't looking at the time. Oh, no, we're like 10 minutes late. I apologize profusely. So, we did a show on Tuesday, which went wonderfully well. Thanks to everybody who made it for that extra show. I thought we would attempt 2 in a week, and we did a rapid-fire show. I beat my record by 1. I got 53 questions.
Okay.
Answered in an hour, which was really exciting, and a wonderfully eclectic assortment of questions, DJ. Some questions that were wonderfully insightful and interesting, and some questions like, what do you think of green? Tonight, we're going to answer any kinds of questions and talk about anything that you guys want to talk about, as always. The title for the show on the screen is wrong. It should be Quarantine 2, because this is not the 3rd quarantine show. So I'm changing that right now. It is, in fact, probably the 4th or 5th show we've done as we've all been cooped up in our homes. So that was technically not inaccurate, or rather 2 is less accurate than 3 now. But this is officially the 2nd quarantine show. Obviously, we've done other shows on other things during this whole mess. But I thought if you guys wanted to focus a little bit more on what the current situation is doing to the culture and speculate about what might be happening down the road, we can do more of that. This is getting very interesting, and there's always new developments all the time. That's not to say that I'm keeping like super up with all of the news, so this isn't like a, reporting thing, of course, but just anything related to that you feel like talking about, we totally can. It obviously doesn't have to be all of that. When I say it's a quarantine show, I don't mean that the entire thing, that has to be the theme of it, but just that's the theme of our lives right now, and is kind of permeating everything. So whatever you guys want to chat about is totally awesome. Let me go ahead and knock this out up front. Folks have been asking me about the new Batman the Animated Series comic book that Bruce Timm is doing, and I've not read it yet. It came out yesterday, and I'm hoping to read it over the weekend, and I may do a review. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I'll get to it. My surgery is on Tuesday. I've still got to do a request this week. I'm still working on the video games, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get to reviewing it, but I will read it, and then I'll talk about it next time I'm on camera on a Captain Logan show or some kind of a stream or something. Let me also mention just a little house cleaning stuff that, like I said, my surgery is Tuesday. For anybody that's not aware of this, I have probably kidney cancer. There is a growth in my kidney. We don't know for sure that it's cancerous. It probably is, and so I'm having to have surgery on that next week. DJ, I'm not real super looking forward to that, partly because I got to go into a hospital during this whole thing, where everybody's wearing creepy masks, and there are a couple of people I know at the hospital that have the coronavirus, so there's more of a risk of patients picking it up. Of course, they're very quarantined, and I don't think there's any chance I'll get it, but if I was going to get it anywhere, it would be there. Well, I say that. They're going to take more precautions there, because there's people that have it. So, I'm not too concerned about it. But it's not the ideal time to get that done. My doctor called me today and gave me the option to put it off if I wanted to. And I decided to go ahead and get it knocked out because I'd planned for it anyway. And it's easier with my wife home right now because I won't be able to take care of the kids very well the couple of days after that. I can't lift anything. We've got, a 1-year-old, and he's heavier than 10 pounds, and I'm not supposed to pick up anything that's over 10 pounds, so it would be difficult to take care of the kids. So anyway, long and short of it, that's why I'm doing that. So my mind is all over the place right now. I'm dealing with that, and I'm going to be fine. I'm glad that we're going ahead and getting it knocked out. And then I don't know when I'll be back. It's just going to depend on how I'm feeling. I had a nurse also call me today and let me know that what it feels like after the surgery is doing like 100,000 crunches. So that's good to know. Apparently that's what it feels like. So
Sore obstacles.
yeah, that's what that's gonna be like. So anyway, see lots of folks in the comments there. There's Rainbow Nightmare. What a great name. It says nice suit. Hey, thanks very much. DJ, this is unusual. I'm wearing a tie and you're not wearing a tie.
Yeah, I'm more casual than you. What's happening? Quarantine has changed
It's
us.
a topsy-turvy world. But you know, it's like Douglas Adams always said, don't panic. Don't do that. Just don't panic.
Of course.
Gregory Davison, so Cap is going to come out of the surgery ripped. Yeah. It feels like you did all those crunches, but you don't get the positive byproduct of said crunches. Unfortunately. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see you. Gypsy Warrior's there. Gypsy Warrior was hanging out with us in the stream last night for the fighting game. Thanks again to everybody that popped in there. I've been doing these silly streams showing folks this goofy 2D fighter that I've been making with Mugen. And go check out those streams if you don't know about that and you want to see the Geekvolution fighting game. I say that in quotes because it doesn't have characters that are based on people from Geekvolution, although if somebody can make those sprites happen, I will totally put those in there. But it's just a bunch of characters that I have talked about or like a lot, and in some cases just have heard of and are amusing to be in that game. But it is over 250 characters strong now. It's turning out really well. I'm working on locations right now, and I'm going to be showing that to Jason really soon. I'm going to actually unveil that sooner than I thought I was going to Jason. I was going to wait until his birthday, and it's still going to be a birthday present, but an early one now, because he saw the title of one of those streams, and I didn't think that would happen because he hasn't been looking at the channel, but I accidentally left a tab up on my machine today, and he glanced at it, and he said, "Dad, you're making a Geekvolution fighting game?" And I said, "Oh, that's just an idea we're kicking around." That's what I told him. And then and then Sarah was like, "Well, you should probably make sure that he doesn't click on the video." So I came back to him and I said, "Jason, that video that you noticed earlier, it's got adult content in it, so don't click on that." that's what I told him. So anyway, he still doesn't know that I'm working on that for him, and but I've got to go ahead and show it to him because I don't think I can keep that secret for 2 weeks. Daniel Davis says on that Batman comic, Bruce Timm is the producer and Paul Dini is the writer. I didn't realize that. I saw Dini's name on it, but I wasn't sure what all the credits were. So if they were co-writing it or what exactly was going on. But anyway, so let's go ahead and just jump right into questions, DJ. Well, DJ, how's your life going, man?
It's all good.
You doing all right with work and stuff?
Yeah, work's weird. Yeah, it works fine. I mean, we went down to 80% hours and 80% compensation, so we are not working Fridays anymore. Well, tomorrow will be my last Friday.
At least you're not losing your job. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, it's going to be weird not working Fridays anymore, especially because I can't do anything. So it's just going to be sitting here anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, buddy. Yeah. I'm around if you want to watch Power Rangers. We can make it happen. DJ and I have been getting ahead on Morphomania. That's been going great. We shot one today, and those have been really fun. We're still in the middle of Zeo, doing some Gold Ranger action. It's been awesome. This just lives here now, DJ. This is just, like, I don't move it. It just lives at my desk now.
Hey, you won't be able to use it much longer. We'll be in turbo territory.
You know, I can do whatever I want, friend. Do I need to buy some turbo props?
I had the turbo sword when I was a kid. A little red one?
The turbo sword? Well, maybe there was just the one. Yeah, I guess.
No,
was it just a Red Ranger sword?
Not the Red Ranger one, but the ones that they had in like their little hip things.
They had swords? And not blasters? I don't remember that.
Weren't they like? Well, maybe they did. Maybe they didn't go in the hip things, but I know they had one because they had a little.
Weird. Well, no, you're probably right, and I'm just not remembering it. But yeah,
maybe it was just a toy and they didn't even use it in the show. Probably likely. All right. I'll ask a relevant question.
Relevant to what exactly? Relevant to our answering questions. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, everybody. We are excited to do this as always. Let's jump straight into talking about whatever you guys feel like. Go ahead, DJ.
All right. Mutale says, who is a better son for Batman, Terry McGinnis or Damian Wayne?
Oh boy. I don't like either of those choices. Can I have a different choice? That's not to say that I don't love Terry McGinnis. I do, but I am in the camp that didn't care for the revelation that Terry McGinnis is Bruce Wayne's kid. Just no. It's retroactive. It's silly. It doesn't line up with what we're given at the beginning of that show. Just no. And I don't tend to like Damian Wayne that much. There are stories I've read where he's okay, but I don't care for that concept. So I don't know. If I have to pick one, I guess I have to say Damian Wayne, which is maybe the only time I would ever respond to a question with the answer of Damian Wayne. But just strictly, which one is a better idea for his son? Yeah, I'm going with that one. It's funny because they're both genetic clones. Like neither of them, or is Damian? Actually, I guess Damian Wayne's not a clone, right? That's just genetic material. That's just artificial insemination, right? Maybe not even insemination. He's made a test tube, I'm pretty sure. But like, I don't think neither of them is both biologically Bruce Wayne's kid, but not by a woman he impregnated the regular way. So that's interesting that you brought those two up. That's a really cool question. It's also a question that irritates me because I don't like either of those ideas very much.
Sorry. Oh man, let's move on then. Cinematographic. Do you have any thoughts on Rosario Dawson reportedly playing Ahsoka in season 2 of The Mandalorian?
It's a cool notion. I'm excited to see her in that. I've loved her in everything I've seen her in. What cool casting. My question is twofold. How mythology heavy is that second season gonna be now in bringing her in? Obviously, we knew that we were gonna deal with Force users finally because Darth Gus Fring comes out with a lightsaber at the end of that season, which is super with a darksaber, which is super awesome. So we knew we were gonna have some Force using action. Obviously, you want the story to ramp up and you want it to be about the Force because we've got Baby Yoda and we still don't really know what that mystery's about. But and I guess minor spoilers for that show if you haven't seen it. But I wonder just how grand it's going to get and if it's going to get away from being too far away from being as simple of a story as it is. So that's my first question about that. The second thing is I have age questions about Ahsoka. Are they going to age her up, or is she just going to age that gracefully, considering how long Ahsoka has to have been around? Like, I realized that she was, really young during Clone Wars, but then you get all the way through the, original trilogy, and, would she, how old would she be now? Like, would she be in her 50s? Would she be younger than that? I guess for a second, I was thinking she would have to be even older than she is, because that show doesn't take place, as late as the new movie. So I guess it's not that bad, but I'm thinking she's gonna have to play a character that's at least 10 years older than she is. So yeah, I'm just wondering about that. But anyway, I'm excited to see her play that. And that's a not unprecedented thing, but something we haven't done a lot in things. And one of the only examples I can think of is Star Wars, where we take a character in an animated canon and cast them in a live-action thing that is in the same canon still, and everything counts. We did it with a character from Clone Wars in Rogue One. And now we're doing it again with Ahsoka, so that's kind of fun. All right, what else?
We got some super chats from Lightning City, $4.99 super chat. What director's cut? Wait a second. What director's cut of the Amazing Spider-Man films would you watch? I would choose the first one, as I would like to see the actual untold story. Oh, definitely. I would much rather see the first one than the second. I don't even think there is much. There's a lot of deleted scenes in that first one, but I don't even think there is much on the second one that they could even put back in.
Yeah, I mean, that is such a bloated mess as it is, that if there's a whole bunch of other random stuff you could cram in, like it might be, I would assume it would make it more of a train wreck before it would make more sense, but who knows? No, definitely Amazing One. It doesn't have the Daredevil movie problem of like an entire subplot cut out, but as I've talked about numerous times, it does cut out everything about Doc Connor's family. And that's a mistake, partly because Peter goes to his big giant house and it seems like he lives alone because it's never mentioned that he has a wife and kids, and you're just like, why do you live in this big house by yourself? Like did something happen? And then there are a couple of good scenes about that are cut out of that movie. Particularly him explaining to his kid. This just hurts my feelings that he took this out. Him explaining to his kid why he has to go away, and that parallels Peter's parents leaving him at the beginning. How do you lose all that? What are we doing? Yeah, you definitely want that director's
and
cut.
there's a great scene. Well, there's a scene that doesn't even make sense now that they changed it. Like when they're fighting in the school, and he starts turning back, and then that's why he has to go back to the sewer. But in the movie, he just like throws Peter against the wall and then just runs away. And and then the whole scene that's how he follows him into the sewer. And then there's a whole like altercation where he kills the Indian guy, and then they actually talk to each other instead of Peter just like finding out by watching the screen what's happening. They actually talk for a little bit. There's another good scene with Connors. Like there's a lot of stuff they cut out.
So it's pretty involved. You could have a probably 15-20 minute longer director's cut, or at least a 10-minute longer one that's a little different.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be awesome.
I wonder if there was anything on the cutting room floor. I doubt it. I wonder if there's anything on the cutting room floor that makes some of the conveniences that lead to Peter getting where he has to be to get the spider bite make more sense, or be like less convenient. I wonder if any of that was like reshoots at the 11th hour.
I don't know. I probably not. That's always a Spider-Man thing. It's always like a Destiny thing where he just happens to be in
that one way too much and way more than normal. Yeah, that drives me. It's not always a Destiny thing. The original Spider-Bite is just he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is like he's following a trail that leads him there, and it's too easy that he ends up there. The biggest one being the Indian guy again, who drops, I don't remember his name, who drops that piece of paper that turns Peter on to where the spiders are. If that hadn't happened, he never would have been Spider-Man. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that he actually was going there because he was being proactive and looking for something. Then just he's on a school trip and he just randomly bumps into it. I think it's the same thing as the first movie. But anyway, moving on.
I don't agree with that because he's already there looking for a thing. And anyway.
John Ty, what's your favorite reality show to watch? Super chat for John Ty.
Interesting. Well, at one time it was Who Wants to Be a Superhero. It's silly and stupid, but I still really like it. I did a rewind on it. Only reality show I've ever done a rewind on. I used to, I'm not ashamed to admit, be something of a fan of The Biggest Loser. I used to watch that a lot. And then all the scandals came out, and that was all really unfortunate. Some really bad things, apparently, were done to some of those contestants. And that show apparently is back now on a different network, but I've not bothered with it because that whole thing rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't know if I'm going to. And I like...
It's still just as bad, yeah. They're still making 600 people like run and do all this ridiculous box jumps and stuff they shouldn't be doing. It's terrible.
Not that way. That's not how you do that. You start eating right, you get down to a certain mass, and then you start exercising. It's nuts. Like, it's too exploitative to turn that into a competition. And I mean, I used to watch that before I understood all of that, you know. And I think that show kind of plays on people's ignorance, right? Where like I didn't know it was that unhealthy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and they like berate, like, and they make people feel bad for like only losing 7 pounds in a week, which is amazing. And you should be rewarded. That you shouldn't feel bad because you lost the weigh-in. Like, it's a bad setup.
And I would think if you were gonna bring it back, you maybe would have to change the title, but I would reformat so that it's a show about that, but it's not a competition. And like maybe nobody would watch it, but then don't make the show if you can't do it with some integrity. Is my thinking.
It's just the whole problem with the whole thing is set up to get ratings, so it's like you have to push it, and people want to see crazy and out. I don't know. It's just dumb.
I like Kitchen Nightmares a lot. And Gordon Ramsay's current show that is that again, but somewhat retooled, is even better than that show was, which I'm watching again, or I'm going through the third season actually right now of that, but that's 24 Hours to Hell and Back, where he does where he goes and tries to help out a restaurant, but he does it in just a day, and I don't know, that's fun. That's one that I like. So yeah, there's actually a little bit of reality TV that I watch now. When I was younger, I was a total prude about reality TV, and I was like, this is bad, and nobody should watch it. The nice thing, and part of, I feel somewhat vindicated because obviously there's a lot of stuff that was totally scripted and a complete waste of time because there's no reality. You know, the kind of storage wars sort of thing, where it was like we're just planting things in a box and people watch it like they watch wrestling, except they don't realize that it's like wrestling. Where it's like, most of this is made up. You know, like at least wrestling people seem to know what they're getting themselves into. What I was baffled by was people continued to watch Storage Wars even after they discovered that it was that a lot of stuff was planted and stuff. So I like the shows that tend to more or less probably be kind of real, especially in a day and age where we have YouTube. Like, I'm making reality TV right now. This is reality. It's happening, and I haven't scripted any of this. It's not, you know, great reality TV, but you know, we're here. And what I was gonna say a minute ago is I felt vindicated when we started bringing back so much scripted television. I mean, I never could have imagined that happening. Like, we had this total flip where in the mid-2000s there was this massive dearth of scripted anything because reality TV sold so well and it was a lot cheaper. So what was the point? Like, the you know, biggest shows on TV were not Lost. Like, Lost was popular, but much bigger than that was American Idol. And when, you know, shows like that were raking in buku bucks and were having, you know, 10 million plus people watching, you know, why tell stories anymore? And then YouTube happened. And there's pros and cons to everything, but one of the nice things about YouTube, besides the fact that it gave me independent work, is that you can now make scripted television, or you're kind of forced to, because not as many people are going to watch your like made up reality crap because they can watch real reality, and some of that is also probably not actually real, but it feels more real because it's people, you know, in their backyards making things. So anyway,
yeah, that's a great point. Wow, super chats are coming.
Ran down a rabbit hole there.
No, that was cool. It was more than he asked for, but I think he probably enjoyed it. So let us know, John Ty. T-Edge1, $5 super chat. My GameStop has closed and has bought.
Good. It needs to. All the other ones that have not closed need to close. Oh my God! I just
No,
GameStop is in freaking sane. If you don't know, you don't even know. Oh, we can get into GameStop. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's not good. He says, my GameStop is closed and has botched my pre-order. Has this affected your game buying, and how will this affect pre-ordering games in the future? I have never pre-ordered a game. Have you ever pre-ordered a game?
I did when I worked at GameStop, but I haven't much since then. Yeah, I find that video games are not scarce anymore, so what's the point? Like, the only reason to pre-order... Well, that's just my opinion. The only reason to pre-order a game... I mean, with respect to the commenter, because, like, if you still do that, more power to you. But I personally... Like, maybe I just don't understand this. You might have to explain it to me. I don't know what the point is now. Back in the day, when I was working for that company... it made sense to pre-order games because you might actually run out for a minute, and if a game is huge enough, it might be hard to get it right away, and because there were pre-order bonuses, and sometimes the bonuses were cool. These days, the bonuses are not as big a deal. You never get anything physical anymore, and sometimes you'll get bonuses, I guess, that are like in-game things, but you can get that anywhere you pre-order. You don't need to go to that store anymore, so you could pre-order online and get it digitally, and as far as I understand it, and still get whatever digital pre-order bonus they had. So maybe pre-order it that way. I don't know what the point of pre-ordering physical is these days, and because most people download, there's not as much of a scarcity. I mean, like, maybe they're not printing as many, but I can't tell you the last time that I had to wait to find a game. Like, maybe you have to go to one other store, but like usually they're pretty prevalent. I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I don't know why anybody does that now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll tell us.
Yeah,
maybe
Studios. So. But well, I'm sorry. I want to talk about this for a second. So
okay, GameStop guys.
Well, but I also wanted to just finish that out because there was a second part to that question, which was how is this going to affect buying games, and not at all, or not much. Like, those of us that still buy physical, we maybe won't be able to go to a brick and mortar store at some point and buy games, but I don't think the coronavirus is even going to affect that. Like, really, because the big box stores that have been able to stay open because they have groceries still have video games. So you can go out to a store right now if you're in a city, like maybe some rural places or some smaller towns. This is harder for, but where I'm at, there are still a number of stores, even during this, where everybody's closed, that if I wanted to, I could go out and buy that new Animal Crossing game or something. But eventually, we're going to get to where we don't have this anyway. There was a lot of speculation that the next generation, what are we at, 8 now? Is this the 8th generation coming into with the PS5 and the Xbox as Xbox? They are... There was talk that they might not have optical drives, and they're going to, or at least the PS5 is. I think they both are. I guarantee you the one after that won't. And there's been a big push to eventually get to cloud gaming. Google tried that with Stadia too prematurely, and it didn't work out. Apparently, the technology works great, but a lot of developers pulled out real fast, and so it works really well, but there's nothing to play. But that seems like the precursor to something big, and a lot of speculation with what Xbox is doing in not naming their console, their new one, anything but Xbox, is that they're probably wanting their games to get to a point where you can play them on a lot of different devices. So you would own an Xbox and you would buy a game for that digitally, but then you could stream it on any device that you have on an iPad or on a phone or a desktop or something. A lot of talk that they're trying to move that direction. So anyway, that next generation is going to be really interesting. But I guess this could potentially maybe exacerbate that to some degree, but I don't think it's really going to change the direction of gaming at all. I think we were already there, and GameStop was already majorly on its way out, much to the contrary of what they're trying to make people think. GameStop is a lot like CBS with Star Trek. They just keep announcing things, trying to make it look like they're doing okay and that they're above water. Star Trek, by the way, doing way better than GameStop. But GameStop has to be open during this, or they have no chance at all of weathering it. And they have been trying to convince the government that they're an essential service, which is hilarious. And the government shut them down.
Wow.
They closed their stores, and then they started opening them again. And they are, once again, making their employees go to work when they're afraid of getting the virus, and when there's nobody coming into the stores. And they're doing curbside pickup even when they're told they're not allowed to do that. And if a cop shows up, they have to give the cop a piece of paper that refers them to their legal department and still not close the store unless they're forced to. And it's insane and illegal and crazy, and I've never seen anything like it. And I can't believe they came back and started doing it again. Check out Camelot 331's channel, who is always on the forefront of this information, and he tells a lot of stories that people have sent him about this, and it's just absolutely wild what is going on with that. And his sources are usually pretty well verified, so all this, especially the stuff he's talking about with that is absolutely definitely happening. It's wild. Wow,
that's crazy.
Oh, I
did not think that was going to get you.
I can tell you about all crazy stuff they're doing. Like, I'll tell you this real quick. Mandate from corporate. And like, I got issues with GameStop, like a lot of people that worked for them. They hurt my feelings when I worked there. It was a bad situation. And anyway, this was like 10 years ago. So when a customer comes, DJ, they're not allowed inside the store, of course, and the way they're supposed to handle customers is they open the door, they stick their hand out of the door, they get the person's credit card, they're wearing a glove, and if they have no glove, they have to put a plastic bag on their hand. This is mandated from corporate. I have heard the official thing that tells them to do this. They grab the credit card, they take it in, they bring the person's game and their credit card back to them in the bag that their hand was in. It's wild what they're trying to get away with.
Who is running this show? Good grief. This is ridiculous.
Crazy people. Anyway, yeah, there's a conference call on Camelot's channel that GameStop tried to get taken down and couldn't get taken down. Listen to it; it's wild, it's nuts. Okay, we'll see you later, DJ. Bye bye.
Sorry, my TV just like started playing by itself, and I didn't want that to.
You have a poltergeist in your house?
I don't know.
Was that a shared hallucination?
Oh, okay. Off of GameStop. Here we go. John Ty. Would you want every piece of entertainment to have the writing of the Care Bears or Batman versus Superman?
What? Say it again.
Would you want every piece of entertainment?
Every piece of entertainment
to have the writing of Care Bears, either the Care Bears or Batman v Superman.
Oh, interesting. If I had to pick between those
are your two options to turn every piece of entertainment into.
Boy, which one would drive you crazier faster? Because, like, one of them is just, like, mediocre, sappy Saturday morning cartoon fare, but, like, makes sense, enough. And then you have BVS, which is just, like, bad stuff crazy. That is a tough call. Would I want everything to be a generic and sappy Saturday morning cartoon, or utter chaos? I don't know. Like, I think utter chaos would drive us all absolutely insane. You know? We would adjust to either, I think. Or we would just read books.
Well, it says every piece of entertainment.
Oh, wow. Can you imagine books?
Books would be written.
Books are just Care Bears?
Books are just written in song.
Yeah.
Do Care Bears sing?
Which one? I don't remember. Which one would you pick? This is an impossible question. And I love it, by the way. It's a really good one.
I don't know enough about Care Bears. I don't even know what it's like.
I don't know a great deal about that either, but just imagine like any really generic Saturday morning cartoon where it's a formula, it's the same thing every time, there's not really any substance to it, but also it's like maddeningly cute.
So
versus
it's
BVS
or Superman or BVS.
Kind of. Except not aimed at girls.
Probably, I don't know, because BBS is just so frustrating by the end. Probably just Care Bears, and then I would just stop intaking entertainment and just go outside and climb a tree or something.
Yeah. I would just write my like when I have to.
It would be better for humanity if all of
it was just Care Bears,
just like innocuous, and then we all just stopped doing it.
Yeah. Well, then the question is, if I decided to write a story, would it turn out Care Bears, or could I corner the market on sophistication? Like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. It says it's like a magic spell where everything just turns into that. It doesn't mean that he doesn't say anything in the future.
I don't know if it stays that way later. Yeah. Okay. What else? Yeah.
That's a crazy question.
That was great. No, I loved it. It was great.
Now for an even better question. Bag Studios, the super chat. What's your opinion on the sweatpant industry future?
My opinion is, how dare you, sir? I think they're gonna be okay. You know, because people need to exercise. And, I guess guys think girls in sweatpants are cute, so they're going to keep wearing them.
If this goes into the winter, we're going to need sweatpants. Because we'll be having to hibernate.
That's true, yeah. At the moment, nobody's wearing pants at all. Well, why would they need to?
I'm not.
I know you're not. I'm well aware.
Okay, you made it weird. Bag Studios. With another super chat. This one is more thoughtful, I think, and not just a trolling question. You can now rewrite one movie in history. What is it?
Wow. I mean, you only get one.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm going to go for low-hanging fruit, but I have good reasons, okay? I'm going to go for episode 1. I think the world is way better off if that's a smarter movie. I really do. For a number of reasons. First of all, that is, of course, just on its own as a thing, really frustrating because I like the aesthetic of it and I like some of the world building, but it's just not well written and not thought out at all. I don't love living in a world where Star Wars just never got great again, and where depending on who you are, it kind of stayed bad. And but more than that, it permeated the culture, of course, because it was Star Wars and had a huge influence in everything because it was Star Wars, regardless of the fact that it wasn't good. And it had a lot of negative effects, I think, because at the time, people, including myself, didn't realize it wasn't good. We kind of a lot of us anyway, kind of drank the Kool-Aid with that movie, and it was a wonderful, awesome spectacle, and we kind of didn't notice that the story made no sense. It was a weird phenomenon. It started prequelitis to the max, and I am positive that a lot of movies, that a lot of bad sequels may have not been made, or we might have gotten a smarter formula for prequels moving forward, where they weren't as retroactive and didn't require you to know the initial material and didn't contradict it at every turn and didn't constantly have characters. This isn't a thing that happens in that movie, but because prequels became so popular, partly I think because of that movie, this thing, what I'm about to say, started happening, where you also have a lot of characters that have to know, like, everything about the future before they become the characters that you're familiar with. Drives me absolutely insane. We did it in Krypton, we did it in Discovery. Like, lately we've been doing this a ton, and it just drives me insane. I'd like to think that maybe some of that crap goes away if you have episode 1 in a different form. And that's not me saying that if I could rewrite it, I would make episode 1 not a prequel. I have no problem with going back and telling those stories. But I would have rather go forward, certainly. But if I had to rewrite it and it strictly had to be the same premise but better, my answer is episode 1.
Awesome. Great answer.
Thanks, man.
Well done. Well backed up and thought into it and everything.
Well, it helps that I did a rewind on that movie like 6 months ago.
This is from Nicholas.
Hi.
He's been in here a lot lately, man.
Yeah.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
Good to see you, man.
You're both making... Okay, he's telling us a scenario. You're both making your dream Spider-Man movie.
Ooh.
What's the basic plot?
Are we?
And who are the actors, dead or alive? Does the Spidey wear sweatpants?
Well, I mean, he might at first, right? When he's got his makeshift
The wrestling.
outfit.
Yeah, in the wrestling.
That's
movie.
kind of sweatpantsy. Yeah, why don't you field this first? What would be the basic premise?
Oh, the premise is hard. I would definitely have to go with Andrew Garfield. He is my favorite actor to do the role, and I would like to see him do it again, honestly. And I like to see him as an older Peter, like Kraven the Hunter type time period.
Yeah.
Maybe even married. And I don't think I would want I wouldn't want Kraven's Last Hunt. I don't think I would want I would want like kind of like Dark Knight style, where they pull from things but don't do like an exact story.
Okay, sure.
So that's why I don't know what I would do for the plot. Probably...
I think that's exactly my answer, too, because I was going to say Kraven's Last Hunt, but I like your idea that you wouldn't tell exactly that story again.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. For some reason, we nerds just, whenever it's an exact... and this doesn't happen a lot, but whenever it's too close, we get too... It's hard to look past the differences and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I just think it would be better if they didn't go with an exact...
I think with a story like that that's in a grander continuity, a serialized narrative, it's fine and probably a good idea to adapt really close to comics if you're doing a series. If you're making like a cartoon show, but for adults, do Kraven's Last Hunt like panel for panel.
Yeah.
Why not? But would you want to lead with it? Or would you even want that to be movie 2 or 3? Like, I think it'd be better, like you said, if it maybe had some elements of some other darker Spider-Man stories.
Yeah, definitely. I want a superhero movie that feels kind of like comic books feel, where it doesn't have to be like at the beginning or the end. It's just like you're jumping in to this world and it sucks you in, and then you just leave after that particular story.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be as part of a series. It doesn't. I mean, we'll never get that with Spider-Man, obviously, because they're gonna make a Spider-Man movie every 2 years till the end of time. But like,
yeah.
I don't know. I just want a story that feels like a story, but also you could just leave it open to go somewhere afterwards.
Yeah, it's just a lot harder to do that when you only get them every 2 years. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, that's an awesome question. I love that. That's cool.
As far as actor goes for me, I've been noodling trying to think if. Because I suck at the fan casting thing. Like if I could, because you just said any actor, so like it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's played him already.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of an older Peter Parker as well. You and I, it's funny because I think you're a bigger Spider-Man fan than me, but I think you and I line up on our sensibilities like a lot. Although I don't know if you're a symbiote guy like I am. Maybe that's the place where we really diverge. But
No, I mean, when I was a kid, I loved. I just haven't read anything in a long time about him. But when I was a kid, I was a huge
but you're
fan.
not like indifferent to Venom and Carnage. You're not like, who cares about that? Because like people like Dan are like, they're fine, but it's not my thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like obsessed with it. Like I said, I haven't read a lot of it, but I mean, just as a kid, they were a super cool aesthetic. And I played the Spider-Man PS1 game, which is all about more symbiotes, like purple symbiotes. That
Yes.
Are, like, attacking you.
I never actually
cool.
played that, but I remember seeing some of that footage.
Yeah, it's really cool. That's the game I grew up with. That's Spider-Man's voice in my head is that game. He's Rhino. What's his name? Rhino something? But he voices him in Spider-Man Unlimited too. He's my Spider-Man.
I am probably at this point kind of more of a Venom fan than I am Spider-Man, especially because the mythology has gotten really good, where like it can finally really stand on its own and be its own thing, which is just wonderful. Now you wouldn't know that looking at the movie, but it can, and it does currently in comics certainly, and like we already had that with Agent Venom, but really now just the symbiote mythology has gotten so cool. But I just wanted to use this to kind of bounce off and say it's interesting all of the things that I'm like more of a fan of an element of it than that thing itself. Like Venom, I guess I feel like I'm kind of almost a bigger fan of than Spider-Man.
Lex Luthor
with Superman, Krypton with Superman, Batman not so much. I do still love the character of Batman, but there's other pockets of it that I'm almost as big of a fan of, like Birds of Prey and things, or that I love as much. I mean, I could know more about Birds of Prey. I could read more Birds of Prey stuff, certainly, but that's a thing I love a lot. So anyway,
including the movie.
No, not the movie. And you can just, man. Next time I'm at your house, I'm stealing that cup. I'm gonna find that cup.
Hey, if you'll wait here, I'll go get it real quick.
I'm gonna find it. Yeah, if you go get it real quick, I won't be here when you come back.
Disconnect me from the call. Oh man, thanks for the great question, Nicholas. That was awesome.
It's great.
I want to think about that more. I haven't thought about a story arc.
Cinematographic what movie? Yeah, they haven't made one of those, DJ.
All right, the T-Edge 1. That's the one we're on. Will screen-to-screen Skype-esque movies rise in popularity and quantity like in Star Trek? Man, sorry, there's no punctuation. I'm just going to read it straight.
Can you guys try that? And I don't mean to make fun of anybody, but this just helps DJ a lot. Try commas and periods. That'd be great. Okay, go ahead.
All right, you got to listen. Will screen-to-screen Skype-esque movies rise in popularity and quantity like in Star Trek, people talking via the comm screen? Good luck on your surgery.
Thank you. I don't think movies made that way will become a thing. I think there might be more people doing shows that way that realize, hey, I don't need a studio. I can just do, like we do. I can just do this, in my basement. I now have what sort of looks like a studio, which is nice, but you've got a lot of talk show hosts right now that are just doing things at home with nothing that even looks like a studio, and, people are still watching. Maybe we don't even need to actually go into work. I think a lot of people are having that right now. Do we even need to go to work? Why do we go anywhere? Hey, what is the point of that? The technology is such now, we don't really have to do that. And really, do you have any more technical issues when you're at home dealing with computers than when you get in a car and go to work? Like, really. But yeah, to answer your question, I think people that just never that were like used to traditional ways of doing things, that never got on the bandwagon, never jumped on the boat with things like Skype and Google Hangout and stuff, are going to appreciate it more. But like the screen to screen Star Trek comm thing, we're doing that already, and that's what DJ and I are doing right now, and I don't know how that really correlates to movies. I think people are still going to want to go outside and make movies. I have considered the notion that documentaries could sometimes be made that way, depending on what they're made about. And this is interesting. I guess I'll tell you guys about this, because I don't know if this is a thing I'm really going to do, but I've been kicking it around, so I wouldn't, please nobody steal this idea, but I wouldn't mind, I'm going to go and tell you because I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I wouldn't mind some feedback on this notion. DJ, before, and this is uncanny, it was like 2 weeks before the pandemic that I thought about doing this. I thought, wouldn't it be an interesting challenge to try to make because I keep thinking about doing another documentary, to make an entire documentary in one room. Because the technology is there now. You could potentially do that. And I thought, what if you made a documentary about YouTubers and you never left your house?
Dude, yeah, that's weird. Wow. You're right ahead of the curve, man.
Isn't that crazy? And then, like, the perfect, like disaster happens where that could be the thing I've been doing this whole time. I've not been working on that. But it's a notion I had, and I couldn't decide if it was a good one or not, where I would just conduct all the interviews. I would see who I could get to talk to me. I would conduct all the interviews over Skype and record them, and then try to put together as interesting of a documentary as possible, making the point that you can make a living entertaining people and informing people from the comfort of your own home without ever having to go outside. And so the whole movie would be made indoors. And then this happened.
That's weird.
It's absolutely
Spooky.
wild.
Oh, man. Well, hey, if you need someone to Skype in, and is it going to be like, that's weird.
Noah O says it's been done before, but like maybe there's been movies like that, but was it specifically about YouTube? Like, I don't know if there probably is. I don't know if there's a really good, like, YouTube documentary.
Someone, he's probably talking to somebody else, but Mutali just said, or Guy Ritchie's King Arthur movie, and I haven't seen that, so I'm just going to assume that takes place all in one
Entirely
like,
over Skype, yeah. It's like, no, we have examples of what that guy was talking about, of movies made, like, talking to somebody on a view screen in Star Trek.
Oh, man. All right.
We have
another
15 minutes left in the show, and then let me mention, because I think I forgot to talk about this at the top of the hour, that we're going to be doing After Dark tonight. DJ is not going to be able to stay for that, but Brandon will be here. Dan may pop in, and we're going to be doing something really different tonight, so consider popping in and taking a look at that. What else?
Well, I'll tell you what else. We got 9 more Super Chats, sir.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to get rolling on this. Lightning City. There was a rumor that the studio loved the first cut of the film so much that they made the untold story be pushed into a trilogy of films.
What are we talking about?
I'm assuming it's still talking about Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
So I guess, I don't know. That's why they spread it out so much and like put some of it in two.
Okay. I hadn't heard that. Yeah.
I haven't heard that either.
Sorry, I don't have anything to add to that. I hadn't heard that.
But yeah, thanks for letting us know. It's cool.
It still sucks we didn't get that last movie. Like, I don't care how bad you think 2 is. It's nutty that ends on that kind of a cliffhanger.
I know, it sucks. That would be cool. Star Killer 2099.
Well, it just makes those movies so irrelevant now. Who's ever going to go back to those?
I don't know. I mean, no one's gonna like. I mean, I'll go back to it because I love the first one. I never go back to the second one.
Well, that's not what I meant. Like, those of us that liked them at all might go back and look at it. But what I mean is, like,
That's what I'm saying.
What kid's gonna grow up and be like, there's these 2 movies that never got fit, or will he just go, oh, there's this duo of Spider-Man movies. I'll take a look at that. What? We didn't get that last one. It's Hellboy all over again. What?
No, that's a very interesting topic. We should talk about that sometime. Like, think about kids growing up now that there's a billion superhero movies. Which ones do just get lost? Do people go back to Daredevil? Do people go back to Hulk? Probably not.
Name some, and I'll give you the definitive answer, DJ.
Okay, here we go. We're doing this right now.
Go ahead.
Elektra.
No.
And Catwoman, obviously.
No. Hulk. No. Hulk maybe, but probably not.
I mean, they'll go back to Spider-Man. They'll probably go back to the X-Men's. Ghost Rider, probably not.
Neither of them. I think that gets completely lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, like besides us that are just showing our kids like our past. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, which ones do people just stumble on? Besides somebody that gets nuts about it and decides they've got to watch every superhero movie ever made.
The thing is, some of them end up on like FX. You know, like they'll put Logan, like Wolverine, X-Men Origins on there like all the time. Yeah. Like some of them will.
Can I tell you, of all of the X-Men movies besides the last one, because that might remain infamous for those of us that were there, but like nobody's going to continue talking about it probably, so like it would be easy for people to miss it. I think the movie, even over Origins, because it still comes up in a lot of worst of conversations, right?
Yeah.
I think the movie that gets most lost and forgotten about is The Wolverine.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I never hear that one come up.
I really do, and it's good. But the problem is the same guy topped himself after that and made the movie, and made a better movie. Made arguably the movie maybe he should have made in the first place. Although I think he had to make the Wolverine as a proving ground before he could get away with Logan. There was no going from what they had right then to rated R, even though you had Deadpool just now. So you could convince the studio maybe to let you do a rated R thing after Deadpool broke records, right?
Yeah.
But can you get them to be okay with you doing a Wolverine movie that children can't see until you push the envelope so hard with the Wolverine that it is almost an R-rated movie?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I see Blade coming up. What do you think about the Blade movies? That's interesting because they're good, but
they don't get talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Well, Blade is interesting because I think at the moment this will not stay this way naturally. There's still maybe some people who don't even realize that those were comic book movies, or don't think of them first as comic book movies. When they first came out, of course, they kind of penetrated and got past the like superhero what's the word I'm looking for? Stigma, because it just looked like a vampire thing, and vampires were kind of popular right then. That was while Buffy was at at the height of its popularity, and it was different looking, kind of more adult, creepier kind of vampire thing. Marvel's gonna make theirs, and then that will go away. But I think it really gets buried after Marvel makes theirs, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that gets people to go back and look at it again.
The sad thing is, kids don't have any Fantastic Four movies to grow up with.
No,
they're all gonna get skipped.
What's weird is, for a minute, we didn't think that was the case with the first Fantastic Four movie in 2005, because
yeah, I loved that movie when it came out.
Yeah,
it's weird
because it had, I don't know, I think the sequel just ruined its reputation, which happens sometimes, right? This happened with Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Half the people who are lambasting Batman Forever think they're talking about Batman and Robin. Have you ever noticed that? Where you'll get 2 minutes into a conversation with somebody that thinks they hate Batman Forever, and then you realize they're talking about Batman and Robin. I think Fantastic Four is sort of that way, although I don't think the second one of those is as far removed from what that first one was as Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. And of course, when I say first one, I think of Batman Forever as a soft reboot before I think of it as the third in the Tim Burton Batman movies. Continuity, but with Fantastic Four, that second movie finally sort of attempted a story, and it was lame, and some of its characters were really unlikable, and that first movie was just spinning its wheels, but like the ditch was fun enough.
But fun, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
We were
like,
stuck in a ditch, but it was an okay ditch to be stuck in.
It wasn't necessarily that the story was terrible. There just was no story. It was just kind of fun to hang out with them for a while. And like I was 12, and I was like, I think a lot of it is too that it's really dated. Like it's very early 2000s, like snowboarding and like motocross.
That soundtrack, just like Daredevil, it's got that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except not as good of a soundtrack.
Yeah. I can still go back to the movie and have fun with it, but like
same here.
It's not. You can't. If you didn't grow up with it, I don't think it's good.
But like I said in the Rewind all those years ago, and I stand by this, the synopsis of that film is four people or 5 people get superpowers, and then they have superpowers. Like, they just deal with having superpowers. That's the movie. And then at the end, you have a big obligatory fight with the bad guy who's not really that menacing and not really that much fun to watch. Like,
yeah, and they just like do a science experiment on him and freeze him, and it's over. That's like the Token movie where they just like use their powers like once, and then it's kind of a bummer. We still haven't seen a good version of Mr. Fantastic's powers on screen.
That's the last franchise where you want to start with origin, and we've done it twice now.
I don't get that. Yeah, just start. I don't know. Just start with the big crazy sci-fi like giant mole monsters. They're giant like underground. I don't know. It could be so much fun.
You open that movie with insanity, right? And it's fine to start early in the FF's career. Like I don't need necessarily the marriage right away. You could,
they don't have to be married.
You could wait on that. You could have there's a number of things you could do later, but like I don't need to watch 2 hours of these people go up in space and they have their like obligatory get the ball rolling origin thing. Like that's not a story. The story's after that.
Yeah, I just watched Wall-E today, actually, for the first time, and
Oh, really?
I
That's a great movie.
love how they just throw you into the world and you have no idea what's going on. You figure it out along the way. You don't have to start with like, oh, the people are destroying the planet and
Quit
they go
holding
up
our
into
hands
space.
every
Like,
time. And Marvel really needs to figure this out, MCU, because it's complicated, right? Because
well, for them, sorry, go ahead.
because they have to introduce characters because they're not there already, and if they were there already, we would have already heard about them. But that doesn't mean that you have to make the entire movie always origin, right? Like you could do time jumps, you know. You could
Doctor
do
Strange did not have to be an origin movie.
it
How many
didn't.
people watched Infinity War and were like, "Oh, this guy's awesome," and didn't even watch Doctor Strange?
No, no,
Like,
we didn't need that. We could have said that it. What we could do, well, see, now I'm actually second guessing what I just said. I think it's smarter for some of them to not be origin. You know why? Because they don't have to all follow each other like squarely, where like this happens and then this happens. How about some things happen at the same time as other things? You remember we did that immediately with Incredible Hulk, where we got two
yeah,
things happening at the same time. You got Hulk stuff going on a monitor in the background.
no,
Why?
we did that in Iron Man 2. He saw Incredible Hulk, and then he went straight to Thor's hammer. Like we did that for a while.
Yeah, we were
Like
doing
things were
that.
happening
Things were
at the same time. But
happening
then
at the
Avengers,
same time.
after Avengers, everything just goes linear.
Now I know that we're starting to do flashback movies, but that's not what I'm talking about. And we were so horribly retroactive in Captain Marvel that I'm really kind of trepidatious about more flashback movies. Like I hope Black Widow gets away from that because it was so corny and prequelitis to the max, the way we handled Nick Fury in that. And I know I remain on about that, and I'll probably always be on about that, because Winter Soldier is their best movie, and it totally contradicts and ruins a plot point in Winter Soldier. And a really interesting mystery that they just go, isn't it funny if that mystery is nothing? No, it's not! It's stupid! Stop it!
Like, yeah, for a joke, it's just ridiculous. Like if they wanted to go their own way and had something to do with it, I'd be okay with it. But just for a stupid gag.
No, they deflated it and basically said, yeah, that thing you were curious about in Winter Soldier, it's a cat.
Yeah,
It was
no one
an
remembers that.
alien
No one
cat.
rewatches our movies, right? They're just big events, and then we go on
Exactly.
the next. And we don't have to.
Precisely. Man.
Which is the case for most of them. But anyway,
How many more
All right,
super
we got
chats do we have?
I think we have like 8.
Oh, goodness. We've only got 5 minutes left. Allegedly. This will go longer than an hour, but let's get these knocked out real quick. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, Cap. This is from
Hi.
Starkiller2099. Hey, Cap, do you think the CW superhero shows would benefit from shorter seasons? I feel the
Yes.
stories and design budgets might be better, much better overall. Yes, absolutely.
I think at one time it would have benefited from ending. But now it's too late. It doesn't matter. It's so convoluted and messed up.
How many episodes are they? I've never watched them.
They stay at that 20 to 22 place.
Oh my goodness.
Most of them.
Really?
Yeah,
22.
mercifully, they've always had shorter seasons in Legends, and it's astounding that show has managed to continuously be the hardest to watch despite that. That's amazing. At least for the seasons I watched. I quit. You know why? Because it was awful. But yes, I've been saying that for a long time, that they tell these serialized narratives beginning, middle to end, but they have to have a lot of filler episodes, and they're really bad at them for the most part. And they're playing in a sandbox that is outdated at this point, outmoded, 10 years outmoded. Most shows aren't the only shows, and I'm gonna say this like almost without exception, I think this is gonna be a near blanket statement, DJ. These days, almost without exception, if you're gonna do 20 episodes, it needs to be anthology, or it needs to be procedural. If the point of it is every week you come in and see what Joe Schmo police officer is doing this week, or Joe Schmo investigator, that's one thing. Make 20 of those, absolutely, sure, because it's a short story format. Yeah. You're telling a lot of mini movies featuring the same character. Stop doing both. There are shows that have done that remarkably well, and if that is the pitch, I think we could get DJ to a place down the road where that becomes a novelty because we finally get smart about it, and if it's serialized, it's shorter because you don't need all those episodes to tell your story. Unless it's so involved you do, but you haven't seen a lot of those. Even back in the day, like Buffy didn't need to be 20 episodes. It has a lot of really good standalone episodes, but it didn't have to be. DS9 didn't. Even Babylon 5 didn't. And it uses its real estate way better than most of those shows. Like it was a good, proving ground for that. But that show still would have benefited from 12, 15 episodes even. If it's gonna be that long, it should just be an anthology thing. Like, unless your pitch is, I have a cool idea about a show that would be like the X-Files, where some of the episodes would be anthology and some of the episodes would be standalone. If that's your initial pitch, okay, but we kept forcing things into that. And CW is one of the last vestiges of that, where we just cannot get away from that because money, I guess.
Yeah, that's weird. Even the Netflix shows we thought were too long. Even 13 is stretching it. Like, why don't we look at the source material? Why don't we look at that? Like, the story arcs in comics are like 6 to 8. Why don't we stick to that?
Well,
and then tell the new season. Like, why?
To be fair, it depends on the length of the format. Let's not pretend like 20 comic pages lends itself to 45 minutes of an episode of a show. Like I'll say that first. But I'm going to also completely agree with you because I think more TV shows should be half an hour.
That's true. The Tick was great.
Yes.
Something else I watched recently was only a half hour, and it was really surprising.
And we don't only do it with comedies now. Occasionally you'll see it with, The Mandalorian is doing shorter episodes, and that's not a comedy. Mandalorian, and what I love about Mandalorian, and I think everything should do this is blanket statement. I think everything should do this. Let it be the length it needs to be. Maybe have a limit, for length. Of, it's never shorter than this, but it's never longer than this. But if we have a 25-minute episode, we make it 25 minutes. If we have a 45-minute episode, we make it 45 minutes. And that was, that show breathed so much better because it wasn't confined to any kind of restraints like that. And so you never felt like anything got cut for time. You were never like, there should have been a scene here, because it was just the length that needed to be. Everything should do that.
Yeah, and even go one step further, there should be no set limit for seasons. I know like television shows on television kind of have to have that because they have orders to fill, but like streaming shows have no excuse. Like, just let them be 8 episodes, let them be 10, let them be 12. Like, just let it be the story length it needs to be. I don't know why I don't know why every Marvel show had to be 13 episodes.
It feels, I don't know, like my instinct is it feels like either greed or uniformity or both. But then how, when it's just about people clicking on Netflix, does 13 net you money than 8 does? Riddle me that. It doesn't,
especially when people binge it in one day anyway, so it doesn't change anything for you.
Shouldn't make any difference at all.
Oh, anyway, we've beat that.
Well, that was fun.
Horse to a pulp. Oh, man.
That horse, look, I'm not for animal cruelty, but that horse needed to be beat. Okay, what else? What else you got?
All right, we got one from Lucas Green, $10 super chat.
Thank you very much. What's up, man?
He says, sorry if you get this a lot. Any updates on the superhero rewind for Arkham Knight? Could it show up in 2020? Also, do you prefer a villain who wants to destroy the hero or join forces with the hero?
Great question. So I'll answer your first one first. I don't have plans on doing Arkham Knight this year, and the year is getting away from me. A lot of projects I wanted to do that probably aren't going to happen this year. I wasn't expecting the surgery. There's been some stuff. So anyway, I need to focus primarily when I get back to Rewind after the surgery on requests. I'm also doing a special month of sequels to movies that I've been avoiding. That's a project I've wanted to do for a long time. I thought it would be really, really fun. I'm going to do RoboCop 2. I'm going to do the first Crow sequel. So sequels to things that I reviewed eons ago that are not real well liked or are forgotten, and that I'm assuming I'm not going to like very much. But so there's some stuff like that. Arkham Knight is a thing I'm going to do eventually. I just don't know when, and I've been kind of not avoiding, but I'm not super looking forward to that because the story is not good. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not excited about talking about that on the same level that I did Arkham Asylum and Arkham City because it's just not that kind of. It's not at that storytelling level, so it's just going to be a lot of me complaining. And there's no way around it. That's what that's going to be. Yeah, and that will be especially weird because I love Arkham Knight for gameplay, but Superhero Rewind's not about gameplay. So it's going to make it sound like I hate that game. Because if I'm just talking about story, I do. But I actually don't hate that game. It's my favorite to actually go back and play. Minus some of the Batmobile stuff. But also plus some of the Batmobile stuff. Because
the racing.
The racing, yeah, that stuff's awesome. The Riddler tracks are... I wish we had a whole game of that. I've talked about this, but I wish we had a whole game of that.
Batman racing.
What was the
How
second
weird
part
would
of
that
that?
be if they released it?
Oh,
the
I wish
second
they
part.
would. I think it would do gangbusters.
It would just be silly. Like I'm not. It would be fun, but like, has that ever happened? Like you take a story game and then you just make a racing game out of it. That's awesome.
But no.
I guess Crash Bandicoot.
But it is not. Yeah, but it's not unprecedented, however, to take a separate mechanic that worked really well in a game and make it its own thing. That has been done.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that what Portal is? Wasn't Portal part of something else first?
I don't know.
Or is that also its own? I never understood what the orange box was.
Yeah,
I worked at a GameStop. I didn't know what that was. I was like, why are these things together? Was that part of it in the first? I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway.
The second part of his question was, do you prefer a villain who wants to destroy the hero or join forces with the hero?
That's certainly a depends question. I think those are both, great directions to and classic stories to tell about superheroes. They're both major superhero formulas. Like I have a hard time putting one above the other. I don't know. Do you, DJ? Do you? With one of those, do you ever go, it's one of these again? I need him to just want to murder him. If he wants him to join forces with him, that can be really, I don't want to say convoluted, but sometimes that could be more forced than the other. I guess I will say it's harder to do that second thing sometimes, but
I don't know if you ever see the second thing without also the first thing.
Interesting.
Because the hero usually says no, and then he wants to destroy him.
And often it's because he's all like, I have no choice now. Like, if I don't take you out, then you're gonna stop me. So I gotta take you out now.
Because what else is he gonna do if he wants to join forces and the hero says no? He's just gonna be like, okay, see ya.
Yeah, are we just gonna keep coming after him like a spurned girlfriend? No, date me. You'll like it. I promise.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about
rule the world with me. It's great.
Fiction in general.
It'll be awesome. Well, and very often you'll have a really sinister villain. So I'm thinking more of sympathetic villains, but you'll also have really sinister villains, right? That want to manipulate the hero into joining them, so that partly because he doesn't want that hero to be able to stop him, but also because he's got something that he can use in his plot, and so he wants to control him.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Like, if you can pull that off, that's really cool. Like, yeah, definitely, I would definitely like that. But I don't know, that seems a lot harder.
What I don't like usually are stories where the whole thing is just the villain wants the good guy dead, and we don't have a real good sense of his other motivations, right? We're like, why are you into this in the first place? Why is this just about take out this guy? And that is the Saturday morning cartoon formula, right? That's the Power Rangers formula, where it's like, we have completely forgotten why the villains were here in the first place, because this hero's name is in the title, and they just have to go after that hero because the world revolves around him.
Yeah. The universe! Oh, man. Where are we going with this? That's a good question.
Yeah,
next up, we got T-Edge1.
Thank you.
Again,
what's up?
Responding to the to our critique of his lifestyle choices. Can you tell me? Oh, okay. Whew.
Are you there? Did you see
screen
that?
went black. Yeah, the screen went black.
My entire slew of screens here all went black for a moment, and I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, that was terrifying. I thought I was alone.
I thought I was done. I thought that was it. It was all over.
Yeah, the villain wants to destroy you. He says I pre-order games so that I can pay as I go and save money. I just got a new book in the mail. It's called The Girl with Seven First Names. Have you heard of it?
I have. How did you get it? Because we can't find it anymore. It doesn't seem to be on Amazon, or at least last time we looked it up, we couldn't find it. So.
Oh, he said he did leave a comment. He said he was able to find it by searching for your name instead of the title.
See, yeah, maybe it just doesn't come up in a normal keyword search now for some reason. But I thought it was still there.
Yeah, so he got it. So he'll be.
We'll enjoy. Some guy with my name wrote that years ago, and he's a completely different person than I am now. But I think he did an okay job.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I hope you enjoy it, man. John Ty.
Yes.
What?
And tell me what you think of it when you're finished reading it.
He says, "What type of pants is the best pants?" Well, his words.
The best pants. My preferred pants, because it's just pants week on Geekvolution. I like traditional.
Geekvolution, we wear the pants in this YouTube.
I like. That's great. I love that. You should make a logo with that. That's hilarious. I'll wear the t-shirt. I prefer dress pants, generally speaking, but I also think cargo pants can be really fun, especially in wild colors. I like purple and green cargo pants. That's fun.
There you have it, folks.
I like things with too many pockets.
All right.
DJ, do you have a favorite kind of pant?
My favorite kind of pant is actually skinnies because they look like jeans, but they are stretchy, and I can just do flips whenever I want instead of having to go change.
Man,
I like being able to. I
wish I had that problem. How am I going to do all these flips? Oh my god! When did you put pants on?
I like being able to just move and kick and jump around without having to
He's got to move it. Okay.
Yeah.
How many more super chats do we have? We got to get this done. Dan just messaged me. He wants to know when we're starting the other show. We got to get this finished.
We have 3 left.
Oh wow. Okay, that's better than I thought. So.
All right. Is the DC story Kingdom Come a superhero story? This is from John Ty.
It is. It's a deconstructionist superhero story. But at the end of the day, it is not a cynical one, so I think it still absolutely counts as like a real superhero thing. We do have heroes that are heroes at the end of that story. They go through, rough patch is an understatement, and there are a bunch of heroes in that story that are definitely not, and that the story never pretends like are. I like Kingdom Come a lot. I reviewed that recently with Kareem. We haven't posted it yet. Hopefully that'll go up this week or the week after. I've got a few things in the queue that I might try to post if I can get them edited while I'm on hiatus, so this may not even look like much of a hiatus. I have actually several comic reviews that need to go up, and Eric and I have done several Ultimate Spider-Mans that just I have not gotten around to posting yet. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Apparently I read that wrong. I don't know what I said, but it was supposed to be, is the DC story Kingdom Come a Superman story?
Oh, yes, it's that also. It's also a Superman story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said, but hey, it's late, guys. We're over time here.
Logan Dodd is freaking out that we skipped his super chat.
I did not skip it. I see it. I'm saving it for the end. I'm just getting through the shorter ones. Don't worry. I got it right
He's
here.
saying he likes yours better. Don't yell at him, okay?
Yeah, it's a good one. Bag Studios. Is there? I actually didn't read it yet, but it's longer. So no, I did read it. It's a funny one. Bag Studios.
Okay, great.
Is there a story when the hero does join the villain? So just what we were just talking about. Can you think of one? That's what I was saying. Like, does that ever happen?
It happens in X-Men things.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you'll get things like, Mystique in X-Men First Class. Like, that's a really good example on the movie side, right? Where, like, she's on that team, she's part of the First Class, you can't argue she's not a superhero for a while, and then at the end she joins Magneto, and they all go off. Magneto also is, for a minute, almost a superhero, except you have to ignore the fact that he was a serial killer before he joined that team.
Pyro also did it. Yeah,
Pyro did it.
I guess
X-Men does it a lot.
A team thing, yeah, because you can't have the main superhero join.
It's hard for it to be, again, anything like a traditional superhero story if that happens. More often, what we'll do is we'll have somebody get corrupted kind of on their own.
I guess Watchmen, you could kind of say, because once Manhattan finds out, he doesn't stop him. He finds out and he goes along with it.
Yeah, but again, that's the deconstruction of superhero thing. The whole point is like, how heroic are they really? Who watches the Watchmen?
Yeah. Well, in Batman v Superman, the hero Batman joins the villain Superman after he finds out that they have the same mother's name.
Yes, that is true. What a great example. what what else you got?
All right, this is Logan Dodd with a $10 super chat. I would
You
never skip
skipped
it.
this super chat.
I would never skip it, but I wanted to save it for the end here. Cap,
Yes.
he says, you strike me as a man of great character,
Well, thank
discipline, and able to handle your emotions. I have to ask, can you describe to me a time that you have truly lost your temper?
So full disclosure, I absolutely have one of those. Like I certainly I do. Man, is that a thing I want to any particular instance that I would want to reveal, however, is a totally other sort of thing. Man, it doesn't even say ask me anything on the screen, and yet here we are. No, thanks so much for the super chat. I will freely admit that one of the hardest things as a parent to do is to not lose it on your kids. It's just not easy, and there have certainly been times where yelling was difficult to not do. I'll just say that. I am careful. I am not remotely an abusive person, but it is I have flown off a couple times and had to kind of catch myself. Certainly, particularly when it comes to lying. That's the hardest thing, right? I hate to throw Jason under the bus, but she asked the question. Jason in the last year or so has a couple of times tried to kind of push the envelope. I was just talking to DJ about this.
Yeah, that's weird.
And see, yeah, but I mean, it's a perfect time to mention it. And we homeschool, and he's tried to see how much schoolwork he can get away with not doing while pretending like he's done it. And we've had to put a couple protocols in place to make sure that he's actually working on his schoolwork. And I understand that, like, it's very difficult to stay motivated and focused, and we do very, like, self-directed study. So he's 9, going on 10, and expected to motivate himself and do his schoolwork without a great deal of oversight. His mom and I help him, of course, but it's not like going to school where there's like lecture, and then you do a worksheet. Like, it's mostly self-directed, and then he comes to us and we take a look at it, and we help him with stuff that he hasn't that he didn't do correctly. There was a period where I kind of let him go off on his own a little bit too much and wasn't checking some of his stuff as often as I should, and didn't realize that he was just a couple subjects didn't like and wasn't doing at all. And so we, like I said, we put some things in place, and then later found out he was still doing it, and I had a hard time not going off a little bit. That was not a great day. But anyway, so there's an answer to your question.
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted to save for the end. That has all the elements of a fantastic super chat. It makes him uncomfortable. It's funny.
And that's good. It puts me in the mood for After Dark.
Yeah.
Makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, that's all the super chats.
Everybody, thank you so very much for coming to the Captain Logan Show once again, for all the wonderful questions. Thanks to anybody and everybody that has or has ever left a super chat. Can't tell you how much we appreciate that. We will be back again in the not too distant future with more of these. I may do one or two more streams over the weekend. They won't be official Captain Logan shows probably, but I might do a little gameplay. I might do something. I've been trying to put out more interactive content while people are at home with time on their hands, and some folks kind of lonely wanting people to talk to. But after the surgery, it will be a little while before you see me again, and I'm not totally sure how long. It's just going to depend on how that is. I talked to a nurse today that said that I probably wouldn't need a great deal of bed rest or anything, that I would just be sore, so I may be able to work just a few days afterwards. I'm planning on taking a couple weeks off, just because it's been a while since I've really taken time off. Unless you count this last week, where most of what I've been doing is just making a fighting game. But Anyway, I will be back in the not too distant future, and then we're gonna come back and probably try this twice a week, because so far so good on that, and it's been a thing we've wanted to try a long time, and I'm just stoked that seemed to work out pretty well. This is one of my absolute favorite things to do. So thank you guys so much for being here and making it worth doing, and we will see you again next time. DJ, do you have any brilliant words of wisdom as we finish out?
Stay sweaty.
Oh, God. I wish I hadn't said that now. Anyway, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.